it's such an honor and privilege to call this particular speaker up. So he's actually not new. He's very, I would say he's somebody that has been here before at the GLS, at our GLS events, and it is always a pleasure to hear from him speak. So I'll just call up our next high-level guest speaker. That's David Achom. He's the chairman of Afro Money Week in Nigeria. So David, are you there? Okay, I can see you.
Yes, that's.
Yes, please, you can go ahead. The platform is yours.
All right, can I start? Can you see me though?
Yes, we can see you.
Oh, okay. Give me a second. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to believe everybody can hear me.
Loud and clear. We can get you.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever in the world your screen is open right now. I'm glad that you are here. All right. I am David Achom. My name is David Achom, and it's an honor to open day one of the Global Leadership Summit 2026. I'm not a new speaker here, and I'm grateful to always be called again. I think this is my third time speaking at this event, and it's always a sincere honor to speak with the amazing people on this call. Okay, so today I'm going to be speaking on a session titled Youth at the Helm, Intergenerational Collaboration for a Sustainable and Intelligent Future. In the next 15 minutes, I want to do something a little different from the keynote you may be expecting. I'm not here to simply inspire you and send you back to your screens unchanged. I'm here to challenge you with something real and to leave you with something you can actually act on. That is the only kind of address worth giving to over 70 plus countries I've seen so far on the comment section at the same time. In my opinion, 70 countries, 4 generations, I mean, one summit. Most of us are watching through our screens. And I think that matters more than we usually admit. All right? Right now, as I speak, someone is tuned in from the government ministry in Accra. Someone else is watching from a university dormitory in Bangladesh. A 17-year-old entrepreneur is probably catching up from Tanzania. A 58-year-old CFO is probably listening from, maybe Frankfurt, Los Angeles, any country, think of it. A community organizer is probably watching us right now from Nairobi. The distance between the youngest person attending this summit and the oldest person is not a problem to solve. It is the full arc of what humanity is capable of when it decides to stop working in shifts and start building together. I want to start by telling you something I believe deeply. This generation of young leaders is the most extraordinary generation that has ever existed. They are globally connected, they are technically fluent, and they are morally urgent in a way that no previous generation has been. They are not waiting to be ready. They are building, they are shipping, they are organizing, they are innovating right now at 13, at 19, at 24, making billions. They are already doing it. The question is not whether they are capable. The question is whether our institutions are brave enough to match their capacity. Because here is what our summit agenda does not say out loud. I mean, I went through the speaker's brief, and even though every serious leader watching already knows this thing I'm about to say, and that is we have a tokenism problem. We invite young people into the conversation, we give them a panel slot, we give them a microphone, we give them a mention in the press release, we photograph behind the executives, we publish their video giving a handshake to the president, and then we return to making real decisions without them. We call it mentorship. We call it inspiration. But what it often amounts to is the careful management of the next generation ambition rather than the genuine release of that. And to the young leaders watching today, Those of you who are 13, 17, 22, I need you to hear this as clearly as I need. All right? As clearly as the senior executive wants to hear it. See, being on this call is not the same as having power in the room. A seat is just a vote. A seat where you can't vote. I think I heard it somewhere. A seat without a vote is just a chair. Yeah, I heard it somewhere. I think that was Mukwa Woshika speaking. A webinar slot without real authority is just a performance. It's not partnership. The theme of this summit is intergenerational collaboration. I want to be very precise about what this must mean, because collaboration is not the same as transfer. It is not a 68-year-old man handing a 22-year-old a checklist and calling it leadership development. No. It is also not youth advisory board sending beautiful, well-written recommendations into silence because they never get a feedback from those same people. No. Real collaboration is structural. It means shared ownership, shared risk, shared reward. It means that when a young innovator in Lagos or in Los Angeles or in Tanzania or in Bangladesh builds something that serves millions of people, she is not a subcontractor. She is a co-architect. And the system around her is built to say so. Now, I'm not speaking in abstraction. I'm not asking you to take this on faith. We have seen what becomes possible when youth and legacy leadership genuinely merge, not as a communication strategy, but as an operational reality. Companies have cut their products to market cycles in half when a 28-year-old product lead and a 55-year-old chief operations officer operate together with co-equal authority and mutual accountability. Community infrastructure projects, that are stored for decades, let me tell you, they've been delivered in under 18 months. All because intergenerational joint governance was written into the project charter from the very first day. Not added later as an afterthought. We have seen the cost of not doing this. Organizations have failed to integrate youth leadership, or rather, organizations that fail to integrate youth leadership into their real decision-making process have watched their most talented young people leave and build their competitors' projects. Government that excluded young citizens from policy designs have enacted laws that collapsed within a single electoral cycle because they were designed for a world that the next generation no longer lives in. McKenzie, Deloitte, World Economic Forum, they all point at the same direction. I was listening to it the other day. Organizations that practice genuine intergenerational co-leadership, they outperform those that do not. On innovation, I mean, the facts are there. On retention, on long-range resilience, the business case is not ambiguous. The science has been done. What remains is the courage to act on it. So let me speak to both generations at the same time, because I have sat at both tables and I know what each side carries. I know the fears, I know the worries, I know what they are afraid to do, and I can tell you for a fact. To every young leader, now please listen to me. Those watching today, let's start with the senior leaders. Your experience is not obsolete. Your networks, your capital, your scar tissue from failed ventures and recovered crisis, that is not background noise. No, that is real structure. That is infrastructure. The young people in this summit do not need you to step aside. We need you to step in, but to step in differently, to invest not just money, but genuine structural authority, to build institutions that are designed to transfer power, not just knowledge. Your legacy is not an empire. It's not the empire you have built, all right? It is whether the people who come after you can sustain that empire, improve that empire, and surpass that empire. I'll say it again. Your legacy is not the buildings, it's not the companies, it's not the institutions, the organizations you have built. It's not those empires. No, it is whether the people coming after you can actually sustain, improve, and surpass what you have built. Now let's speak to every young leader on this call. Your speed is not recklessness. I know what it means. Your refusal to accept broken systems is not naivety. Your digital fluency, your comfort with uncertainty, your instincts to scale, none of that is a supplement to the old ways of doing things. No. It is the foundation that the next era must be built on. And that foundation needs more than your energy. It needs patience. It needs risk management. It needs the willingness to learn from people who have already paid for the lessons you have not. They've walked through the journey so you don't have to. The best thing you can do is to seek those people out and demand to build alongside them, not after them. I set up my board, my advisory board in the organization. I'm telling you, we have people from every of these 4 generations. We have an 82-year-old man sitting on the board. We have a 42-year-old man. Yeah, 42-year-old man sitting on the board. We have a 48-year-old man on the board. We have a 30-year-old guy. We have 2 28-year-old guys, and we have a 21-year-old on the same board, on the exact same board. We have to bring in people from different diversities, and they all have equal voting rights. See, I told them, I said, we are not in competition. We are in sequence. And the only real question is whether you run that sequence as a relay, passing the baton at the last possible moment and hoping that nothing gets dropped. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have to see it as a formation where we move together at the same pace towards the same destination. I believe we are capable of that formation. I believe this summit is a proof of that belief. So here's what I'm asking of everyone watching today. Not as a suggestion, no. But as I would like to call it a minimum viable output of this 3-day summit put together. First, please write it down. Let's build a shared vocabulary. Before this summit closes, I want every organization represented here to be able to answer these 3 questions out loud. Question 1, who are our young decision makers? Not advisors, not interns, decision makers with real authority to act. Question 2, what do they have the institutional power to change? Question 3, what will we build together that neither generations could achieve alone? That's the first thing I want you to take out, the minimum viable output. Second is, let's commit to structural co-leadership, not advisory boards that submit reports into silence. No. Because we never get back from them. We submit to the older generation and we just say, we'll get back to you. No, I'm talking about boards with voting power. Let's put young people there. Intergenerational collaboration. Let's have joint ventures with shared equity. Let's have project teams where the youngest voice carries the same institutional weight as the most experienced voice. Because the structure of that organization demands it, and the results require that there is that collaboration, there is that synergy, like my mentor will say. My mentor will say, let's have a synergy between the old and the young, between the great-grandfather and the great-granddaughter. Let's have a synergy. Until then, we are not ready to build something of worth. Then the third, let's bet on the long-term game. That's the third minimum viable output I want you to take out of this call today, whether you're an old person or a young leader. Let's bet on the long-term game. I was speaking to the staff this morning. By the way, I'm at the office. I was speaking to them this morning and I told them, I said, see, I'm going to die someday. In fact, if death comes today, I'm okay. Why? Because we have in our organization SOPs. We have in our organization culture books. We have every single aspect of the business documented. Onboarding process is now automated. Students retention automated. Student classes automated. Delivery automated. Promotion automated. Building automated. Everything automated. And the only reason we could do automations is because we have the young people synchronized with what we are doing. We are betting on the long-term game so that if I die tomorrow, which I will eventually, well, not tomorrow, not figuratively tomorrow, but if I do someday, or when I do, I'm sure that we have achieved one thing, even in my absence: sustainable progress. The kind that survives a generational change, a market crash, a political transition. And that kind is only possible when the people building it are the same people who will inherit it. So they know that whatever they give is what they will get. That means young people must be co-architects from the very first blueprints, not innovators later inheriting a building that they had no say in the design process. When this session ends today, I want a 13-year-old grassroots advocate in one country and a 60-year-old corporate executive in another country to close their laptops with one shared understanding. They are not rivals for the same future. No, we are co-owners of that future. The world's most urgent challenges, which are climate disruption, economic inequality, artificial intelligence governance, food insecurity, democratic fragility, and security. None of them will be solved by one generation acting alone. They will all be solved by a combination of urgency and patience. A combination of the elderly man's vision and the young man's vision and the elderly man's experience. They will be solved by the combination of the courage to disrupt systems and the wisdom to sustain systems. That combination only exists in this virtual room right now, across 70 plus countries, hundreds of screens watching me right now. 4 generations of lived experiences and collective ambition. Let's not waste it. This is rare privilege. Let us not waste it. I would like to officially tell you, welcome to the Global Leadership Summit 2026. Let us build something that lasts. I am David Achom. Please connect with me. Send me an email if you want to ask questions. contact@iamdavidachom.com. And I personally reply to my mails every single morning. I'll be happy to hear from you and respond to your questions. Contact@iamdavidachom.com. You can reach out to me on any social media platform @iamdavidachom, @iamdavidachom, and I'm going to respond to you. Please do go ahead, reach out. If you want to check out what we do, we have scholarship programs we give out to young people every single year for education, learning skills. We have that. All of those things, you can check it out on the website iamdavidachom.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for the organizers, and I look forward to speaking again next year and hearing real transformational change as proof that you listened and you took action from this session today. God bless you.
My mic was muted. I was saying thank you so much. I actually do agree with you. There was a point that you brought out with regards to what was it? Sustainability, in a sense. When you spoke about how we have to collaborate, it's interesting how the generation that we are in, it's easier for you to grow when we collaborate, like when we work together. Because sometimes there's this false idea that when you're doing something alone, or how can I phrase this? Okay, let me put it this way. I really love the fact that when it comes to leadership, the reality is, in order for you to sustain whatever it is that you're doing, you will need to collaborate. You will need to train people. And this is why I love the point on legacy. It's where people are able to continue with whatever it is that you had started building or doing. So you've mentioned so many points that are actually leading us into our first official session, even as we've been having our opening sessions. You spoke a lot about our next session. That's session 1, where we'll be looking at the dilemma between youth as well as elders. So I'm just trying to see if we have some of our speakers present, even as we are about to start our next session. But before that, I'll just check through the chat if there's any person that has questions for our speakers that had spoken earlier. So I'm just going through the chats just to see if there are any questions. I know there was a question from somebody who wanted to find out how they can be a part of the United Nations. So I don't know if that question has already been answered in the chats, because I noticed that she was requesting for emails. So thank you so much, Shruthi, for that. So is there anyone that has a question as of now for any of our speakers before we get into our official first session? Okay, I don't know if somebody unmuted their mic.
Hi, everybody. Shruthi here again. I have the youngest delegate here with me, my daughter, Selena, who's 10 months old, who just woke up here in Los Angeles. And the big question was, how do you connect with us? And the beautiful thing is that we're doing events similar to this Zoom, where we can have participants from around the world, like UN Day of the Girl, UN Youth Day. We would love to collaborate with you. We'd love to have your voice be heard. So the best way to contact us is actually to follow us at una.losangeles on Instagram. I've dropped it in the chat many times. And just comment on the post that the My Foundation posted today about the high level plenary. You'll see it on our Instagram. Comment what you thought about our my speech, and then we will be able to connect you that way. And I think that's actually a great way to continue the discussion, to take it into that forum for the people who may not have been able to attend, but to really see what you related to the most, and then we can understand where your interests lie.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I hope we're all able to get that. So we'll actually be transitioning into our next session soon. So I'd just like to get any questions that anyone might have for any of our two speakers that have just spoken. Okay, I think there's somebody asking about the presentations. David, I don't know if you have any kind of presentation or summary for your takeaway points.
Hello, I want to be sure what the question is again. You want to ask it?
There's somebody that is asking if you could share the presentation materials and a summary.
Oh, I spoke from my head. I didn't put the presentation together.
Yeah, so I don't know, there was somebody asking about it in the chats, but anyways, that's fine.
Thank you. I didn't put the presentation together. I was in a hurry. Okay, the information came in quite late yesterday.
So thank you once again. We'll be transitioning into our next segment. Okay, no, that's okay. That's fine. So I hope you can still hear me. My network is just a bit shaky. You can confirm with me if you can still hear me before I move on.
Hi, Chisha. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, please. You can go ahead.
All right. I hope you can all see me. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you so much. And thank you, Shruthi. Very nice to see you back here again. I believe we've already started the summit amazingly well. And I'm definitely looking forward to the post-summit event. I'm just going to give like a brief rundown of the previous summit, the impacts, and what we're looking forward to in 2026. For the last edition, we had about 1,000 plus registrants and participants from around 50 to 70 countries. That was at the time. But this moment is kind of bigger than we've ever thought, because when I was going through the form myself, I was shocked. So we at this current edition, we're having countries like Oman, Colombia, Qatar, yeah, basically much from the Middle East, the Middle East region, down to Europe, Austria, Bolivia, down to Latin America. We have Peru, Guatemala. I was very shocked to see we're reaching regions that we've not explored before, and this is very much an amazing platform for us to maximize, because this is literally from various backgrounds, just like how some of our keynotes high-level speakers have shared. We should definitely maximize all of this. Let's connect on the group chats we've created for everyone. Therefore, networking. So let's not just post things randomly. Let's network. The next co-hosts might be on that platform. So let's network. Let's collaborate together. Let's make things work together. Just like how Shruthi and Dave have shared, let's go beyond the event, because that's even one of the major things I and the organizing team are more passionate about. What happens after the summit is very much huge, and like we should prioritize that beyond just these 3 days. Even though these 3 days is going to start, it's going to be more of like a kickstart, more of like a sparkle to whatever it is we're doing. or more of like a push or accelerator to whatever it is we're already doing. But beyond this summit, definitely let's be curious. Definitely that's one thing I would love us to prioritize. Be curious, continually learn. Let's take more courses, virtual platforms. And we have the Aspire Institute. We're part of they're part of our major partners from the Harvard school. I also got privileged to be a part of it. That's why they've also partnered with us. So shout out to the alumni on the call. The ForbesBLK, thank you so much for giving us the privilege to be a part of the platform. The UNA USA, and thank you, Shruthi, also from Los Angeles. The International Trade Center, Ye Community, the WHO Partnership for Maternal, Newborn and Child Health, the Internet Society. I was shocked to see the president of the Internet Society for Colombia. The entire country is also one of the keynote speakers coming up in a few minutes. Thank you so much, all of our partners. Thank you to all of the delegates. Definitely, we're looking forward to the post-summit event, and we hope the ripple effect impacts more and more and more lives from our various networks in our various communities and space. So thank you again. Chisha, are you on the call? I believe the other high-level guests, I've mentioned how you could connect with them at I am David Achom on all platforms, and then Shruthi Mathur on all platforms. You could connect with them. You could also connect with me at the Ayomide Iwalaiye on all platforms likewise. So thank you very much. And I'm also going to be behind the scene just watching and just observing. So definitely thank you everyone for being a part of this. And we look forward to your impacts beyond this summit. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ayomide, for that amazing welcome and remarks. Just confirm with me if you can hear me. I think I'll be off video for most of the session due to my network. So you will pardon me on that one. However, I believe we can transition into our first ever session of the day. So allow me to just confirm if we have the following speakers present with us. Do we have Cynthia present with us? Cynthia Nekesa?
Yes, I am.
All right, awesome. Do we have Siona, are you here?
Yes, I'm there.
All right, do we have Jordan?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, lastly, Luchembe, are you here? Okay, so I believe we can just...
Excuse, ma'am, did you say Philip?
Sorry?
All right, I believe we could... Okay, Chisha's on the call.
Okay, okay, then we can...
Did you say Philip?
No, Luchembe.
Okay.
Yes. So we can just get ahead, go right into our session. So allow me to just quickly introduce our speakers, and I will introduce the topic as well that we are looking at. So for our first session, we're really looking at bridging generations for global impact. That's between the youth and the elders, sort of like looking into youth and elder collaboration. And the speakers that we have privileged for this particular session is firstly Cynthia Nekesa. Cynthia is the founder of Misala in Kenya. So Cynthia, you're most welcome to our session. We have Siona as well, Siona Dubey, who is a teens representative from India. And finally, Jordan is a teens representative, but from the US. So to all our panelists, this is more of a panel discussion, but it'll be an interesting conversation. Okay, so I'm getting messages that I'm not being heard. So can you just clarify in the chat if you can still hear me? Okay, awesome. So lovely, lovely. So to our panelists, you're free to just give a 1-minute introduction, 60 seconds, of who you are, you can just introduce yourself. So I think we can start with Cynthia. Cynthia, you can just give us a quick background, and that's 60 seconds.
Hey everyone, hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Oh, so my name is Cynthia Nekesa, and I'm so passionate about intergenerational knowledge sharing. And I'm currently working on Misala, which is aimed at digitizing African traditional medicinal knowledge. And so this is the thing that is getting me at the moment. And apart from that, I just love Africanacity and Ubuntu. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. We can have Sienna. Sienna, you can just give us a brief background of who you are in under 60 seconds.
Good evening and good afternoon,